into studio.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, so take us through the decision that eventually unfolded, that was announced just yesterday, and how Momentum, in many respects, some people are calling it bowing to public pressure. What's your take on how things have unfolded?
Michelle, I think the most important for us here was that through the cause and the unfolding of the events, the impression was created that the insurance industry at large, and Momentum specifically, look for reasons not to pay claims. And you know, the contrary is true. Our industry, Momentum, won't exist if we don't pay claims. That is the business we're in. It's our lifeblood. It's what we do every day. And in this case, the heightened awareness of the society we live in and the fact that no one can ever predict what could happen to us, I think it really made us pause and listen and realize that there was a far bigger issue at hand here than just the letter of the law that says there's a contract, one-sidedly one party didn't disclose, which means that the contract should never have existed. But that doesn't help the family. And to almost feel like you're punishing a family for something that they have no control over is not right. We took a step back, we paused, and for 2 days we worked day and night to find a solution. And we're very proud that the solution we found was also not just one that found a way to pay the Gunners family, but one that actually now retrospectively we offer to every single client we have, and that in future will be a standard feature on all of the products that we offer.
I mean, it's interesting that you actually raised the issue of insurance companies looking for reasons not to pay out their clients. Certainly that has been a pervasive sort of narrative on social media. It's led to a whole range of people tweeting, in some instances declaring on Facebook that they are moving to a different insurance company with, in some people saying, with more humanity. Tell me about the kind of brand damage Momentum has surely suffered over the past days.
So, if I can take one step back again, I think what is important is that this is how an entire industry operates. And I think it would be helpful to maybe, you know, just pause on that a little bit as well, but I do want to answer your question regarding the brand damage. But if you'll allow me, this industry operates on the fact that when a client fills out an application form, it's in good faith. We absolutely have to be able to trust that every single client will give us honest information and declaration, because based on that, we will then be able to assess the risk and issue a policy. Now, that's how the industry operates. If we reach a day where we can no longer trust that clients will disclose, we will be forced to test every individual for every single medical condition that they could possibly have. And that will mean that our industry won't be able to exist, because how on earth clients will then be able to pay a lot more, or they'll be forced to pay a lot more, because that's the only way in which we'll be able, you know, to carry that risk. Now that would be completely wrong. So from a brand damage point of view, yes, we suffered a lot of brand damage. And what is interesting is the overwhelming support we've received from our competitors saying, this is how our industry operates. We're sorry for you, Momentum, that one of your cases got picked, because all of us have these cases. Because there are non-disclosure, we find it, and then you go back to the legality of the contract. So I think, you know, we totally did. There was brand damage to us. It was a very tough situation. And we absolutely, I think the most important is we listened, we heard, we paused. And that is the nature of life insurance as well. You then go and say, hang on, what is wrong here and how can we fix it, and fix it in a way that it will be good for society and for all of our clients and also for our industry.
Look, at the end of the day, the Health Ombudsman also ruled in your favor twice. So on the face of it, in terms of legality, Momentum was acting in absolutely the right way, even in refusing to pay out. But the questions that were being asked, if we can just take a step back before your announcement that was made yesterday, the reasons behind this person's death was not related to high blood sugar.
Correct.
And no matter what the legality, what about the humanity? Is that also what led to this sort of pausing by Momentum?
100%. 100%. And I think also the misunderstanding, and we can't blame the public for it, but it is very hard to conceive that someone will have high blood sugar, then get gunned down and not be covered. The point here is the legal side says the policy should never have existed because we would not have given him cover did we know. But on the other hand, it is very hard to make that connection.
Or at least he would have been paying a higher premium if he had disclosed.
In this case, because obviously we have the exact medical condition he was in and all of the records, we would not have insured him in the first place. But leave that. The point is, so legally, yes, there wouldn't have been a contract, he wouldn't have had cover. But that doesn't help the family. And the humanity of this came in. And where lots of our clients came back and said, but I was honest, I did disclose. Why should I be paying for someone who didn't? There was the flip side that says, but none of us ever know what's going to happen to us. We live in a society where this can happen to me when I step out of this door. And how do I know that my family will be covered and looked after in a case like this? And that made us realize that our bigger client base, our industry, need a solution that is a little bit more innovative and has a little bit more heart in it and look at how we can solve the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we just take a look at the social media reaction to the past few days, there were thousands of people who were making pledges to move their policies elsewhere, to cancel their policies with Momentum. When you talk about the brand damage, can you tell us about the kinds of perhaps numbers you've seen in terms of policy losses over the past days?
Well, actually, I have an exact number, and but in the half hour I was driving here, we might have had more. But actually, it's less than 50 policies overall that we lost. But we had thousands of clients engaging with us. And I think that's part of the education process. When you then start, and you can start to explain to people the exact situation, the importance of non-disclosure or disclosure up front, what it means post you having a policy, i.e., if you honestly disclosed, doesn't matter what medical condition you then develop afterwards, you will be covered. People then understand a little bit more. So I think the one good thing that will also come out of this is that the entire industry realized that there's a big education need in the industry out there to educate people. So if someone had a policy with us, they were completely covered because they disclosed upfront, and they took that and moved it to a competitor. They're going into the same situation because that is how the industry operates. It is not isolated just to Momentum.
All right, so tell us about this new violent crimes clause. What would be the criteria for evaluating what qualifies as a death by violent crime?
In fact, exactly as simple as what you've just said. So what we try and do is not to have a million terms and conditions that could change it. So what we say is this. If a client is insured by us and die from a violent crime, and that could be hijacking, murder, gunshot, any of those kinds of crimes, then we'll take it at face value, and then we will not try or go and check medical history or medical records. We will simply look at that. Now, what is also important is it's an ex gratia payment from us in goodwill. It does not come out of our policy funds. Why is that important? Clients who did disclose and who are paying the right premium for the cover they have should not pay for people who didn't disclose because of a situation like this happened. So we're paying for it from our own pockets, our own profits. So it will not influence people's premiums. But every single client that Momentum now have this benefit added. And it's not actually a benefit, it's a guarantee that we've just added over and above and on top of the policies.
And I get the feeling that you've said that it's a retrospective clause.
Correct.
So it applies as far back as how long? And in terms of your announcement yesterday, how many claims have you had since then?
Well, actually, so what is interesting, we have retrospectively applied it to every single client we have that's insured with us, forever. It doesn't matter whether they've been insured with us for 20 years. So they all now have it, and it's free. But what we've also done, and I think that gave us, a lot of comfort that it's bigger than just the Ganes family. We've actually found quite a few clients in the last 3-4 years who died through murder and similar situations where actually we also declined their claims for the same reason.
For non-disclosure.
Correct. But they didn't choose to come back. Some of them went to the Ombud. Again, it was found in our favor. But now all of them, we're busy contacting those families, and they will all receive this payout. So there's some very good, I think, that has come from all of us.
It certainly sounds like it. Well, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us. Jeanette Murray is the Deputy CEO of Momentum's parent company, MMI. Denise Ganes welcoming Momentum's announcement that it will in fact be paying out her husband's 2.4 million rand life insurance policy.